You're recording. All right. Welcome back to
10 years down the drain.
with me, Mariah, and
Johnny?
this is episode 2, and we're calling it Brain Meat Reboot, and it's really confusing. So we want to thank everybody for their support. We weren't really sure how all of this was gonna go, and we didn't know how many people were actually gonna listen and how many people were gonna put their input in on it, and we are really thankful about it. And we got a lot of feedback from episode 1, because
Mm,
we totally are winging it.
yeah, we greatly appreciate it. This is our first time doing this type of thing.
Yeah. So with that being said, we did post our backgrounds and kind of like how we got here on our Instagram page and our Buzzsprout page, but we are gonna kind of take it back a little and backtrack and talk about ourselves, and then we're gonna go into episode 2. So, I'm Mariah. I'm 32. I'm an ER nurse. I've been an ER nurse for going on 7 years. I've been in the ER for 12 years. Long time. I grew up in Winslow. Johnny and I met in grade school. I've been living in Phoenix for, oh God, since 2009. I'm very interested in doing new things. This past year, I really got into paddleboarding, which Johnny's gone with me
It's
on.
great.
So, I've done
Gotta
some
try it
paddleboarding.
sometime.
Yeah. I actually spend a lot of time in the gym with weightlifting. I don't do cardio. Trying to work on that this year. But you will probably see me if you followed my location. I'm literally at home or at the gym, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. So, I also have 3 French bulldogs, and I'm very obsessed with them. And if you want to follow them on Instagram, they're on Instagram. Um, those are my children, but
They're pretty cool as hell.
they are cool. So, I recently became single last year. It hasn't even been a year, so it was last year. After being with somebody for 10 years, and it ended in such an abrupt way due to physical and sexual assault. And after that happened, I told myself that I wasn't going to let my ex silence me about it. I was going to be very open and honest and talk about it. I mean, it took me a long time to talk about it without, you know, feeling like uncomfortable or wanting to cry. And I'm not a crier. So that was really hard, but I've learned a lot, especially in the last 10 months. I've learned a lot about myself. And I felt like making this podcast about 10 years down the drain, because not only is it about like, you know, ending a relationship and trying to move on with your life, but it's still like you're trying to figure yourself out too after a relationship. So that's kind of where I kind of started thinking about it. And then Johnny reached out to me, and he's kind of going through the same thing. Um, and I just kind of like one night we were sitting here talking about how to kidnap pandas from China because we have the weirdest
We have
conversations.
crazy conversations. That's what makes it
And
fun.
I just was like, dude, I think we should have a podcast about 10 years down the drain, because like you and I are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's stuff that people don't want to talk about, and we should talk about it. Like nobody else understands how you feel unless somebody else is going through it. Like that's probably the best kind of support you can have. Not saying that I don't have support. Speaking of support,
And
um,
it has to be the person that gives
gets
you
it.
what you need.
Yeah,
Like, because we've had this conversation about, like, okay, so for example, our parents.
yeah. Our parents. God, wait.
My
Before we even talk about our
Okay.
parents, let's shout out to our parents.
Yeah.
My parents, Michelle and Frank, they are the most downright wholesome human beings, and these are the parents who like will always have your back, and thank God for them.
Yes.
Like if it wasn't for my parents, I would probably be somewhere where I
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
And that's what parents are for. And
Yeah.
I shout out to my parents too. My
Yeah.
dad has helped me a lot in my
Thank
life.
God for 'em.
And my mom has too.
Oh yeah. And I mean, not only that, like I know you and I have talked about like support systems, and for me, like I was blessed enough to have two nurse friends, Corey and Jesse, who literally are the best humans you can ever have. And Corey's husband Scott. Like
Which
Scotty
I just
boy.
recently met.
I know. I mean, they are literally the two like married couple humans who like they just literally are the best friends you could have. But so I just wanted to shout out my friends, but that's my story. That's how I got here. And, I just want to show people that there is a community out there who supports you, especially when you're going through hard stuff. So, with that being said, Johnny, you could do your intro.
Well, my name is Johnny Stewart, and I'm 33 years old. I have worked for BNSF Railway for about 12 years now. Um, I'm an engineer and conductor for the company. It's been a real hard lifestyle to get used to. That's probably the main thing about that job is to get used to as a lifestyle. But I'm glad I knew what I was getting into because all my family works for this company, and
Hmm.
it just, I mean, I got to a point after I graduated, I wanted to make money, so that's what I ended up doing. Did
Hmm.
I want to do it? No. I wanted to be better and do something different than what my family's always done, but I ended up doing it anyways because it's hard to make this much money, especially with not having a degree or going to college and stuff. Because I didn't. I didn't go to
Hmm.
college. But anyways, yeah, I've worked for the railroad for 12 years. Still, it's going to be a long career for me. I'm very blessed to have it. It's given me a life that nobody, there's a small percentage of people have. I mean, it's
Hmm.
hard. It's these nowadays. It's really hard. Um, I have three children. I have three boys.
Oh, the boys.
I know they are a handful,
They're fun.
and oh yeah, and there's never a dull moment.
No, it's not a dull moment.
it's it's definitely fun. You cannot sit on the couch or shit's gonna hit the fan. They gotta go. They gotta go. They gotta run. They gotta
They're
do.
being
We gotta
boys.
go.
They're farting. Their feet
Yeah.
stink. But
It
they're a good
happens.
time.
Yeah, you gotta let them be kids.
Yeah.
Gotta let your kids be kids. No matter if they want to go and ride down the street with their friend. I know a lot of people nowadays are like, "Oh no, don't. We don't want to do that because we don't know who's gonna pick them up or whatever." I understand that, but you
Yeah.
gotta let your kids be curious and I think if you shelter your kids or you don't let them do anything that they want to do, they don't grow and they don't learn.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing. Like and even Mariah can say about the way she grew up. My parents gave me a
Good.
shit ton of slack. I
Oh,
went out there and I did whatever I wanted to do. But as long as I was home and the street lights came off,
yeah.
I was home.
I don't know.
And
My mom, shout out Michelle, love you. Um, Lots of times she was like, "You better be home before your dad wakes up." But yeah, so that's kind of how Johnny and I got here. Well, you didn't talk about
well,
how you got
and
into 10 years down the drain.
so I got into 10 years down the drain. I mean, just like Mariah said before, like we have a lot of in common. Excuse my language. My voice is all jacked up. I've gone through like a bad sickness. New
You had the
Year's
flu.
wasn't okay with me, but
Mhm.
yeah, like she said that what we dealt with in the past is very similar. Um, Mine differs because I was married. I was married for 9 years. I'm currently going through a divorce right now. It's
Mhm.
almost over.
Mhm.
Um, and it's one of those things that's, looking back and even in the present right now, there's a lot of things that I struggle with. And a lot of it is, what this whole episode is about is retraining my brain. I have
Mhm.
definitely um, lost myself I've definitely I don't ever. It's hard to think about myself. Like
Yeah.
I do. I mean, exclude my boys. Yeah, I got to
Yeah.
take care of my boys. But when it comes to me, it's hard to think
You don't know
about
what that
what
looks
I
like.
want.
Yeah.
What is gonna make me happy? What
Mhm.
do I want to do? What
Yeah.
it's it's one of those things that I it's hard for me to do because through my 9 years, it has always every decision making has been towards my other half that I was
Mhm.
with.
Yeah.
Maybe in the beginning, yeah, I was probably thinking about myself a lot, and got to a point where I'm like, she wanted to do this. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm such a easygoing person. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's go do that.
Yeah.
Let's go do that. And then through the years, everything that I do, I ask, what do
Yeah.
you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you
Yeah.
want to eat? What do you feel like? It got to a point where I didn't think about myself anymore.
Mhm.
And right now, this is what this whole episode is about
Yeah.
is retraining your brain after.
After a
And I think a
long
lot of people can
relationship.
relate to that because I think a lot of people in relationships get to that point. But I mean,
Mhm.
if that's the case and it works, which it never did work for me. All it did, it was, I thought that it made that person happy, but it
Mhm.
didn't.
I didn't. Yeah, I think, we backtracked, we kind of showed you how we got here, what we said, but I think, for Johnny and I, this next episode, brain meet reboot, and it's really confusing because it is confusing,
It
but
is.
both of him and I have talked, and we think this episode and our next episode is, going to be very dark because we're going to talk about some hard things that people don't talk about. And so, with that being said, we really want everybody to bear with us because, we're being vulnerable and we're opening up about like the way we saw things. I mean, just you guys need to remember like there's two sides to every story, right? Like, there's their side, there's our side. Like, we're opening up, sharing our side. And so, these next two episodes are going to be hard for us, I
Yeah.
think. And we've really talked hard about it in the last week because we haven't seen each other for a week.
It's been a while.
So, yeah, so we kind of named it Brain Meat Reboot, and it's really confusing because I don't know, Johnny, we're pretty fucking confused.
Yeah,
We're very confused,
it's just a
you know?
it's gonna take time. It's one of those things that's gonna take time, but
Mhm.
I mean, you have to make time for yourself too
Yeah.
to get over that. That's
Mhm.
for sure.
I think too with that being said, it's like we're relearning like out of toxic responses, right?
Yeah.
And like that kind of, and not saying that like just our exes were toxic. Like I am a firm believer it goes both ways.
Oh, for sure.
So like is it toxic that I'm a firecracker and I shot off? Yeah, that's toxic in a way, but
Yeah.
I also like had to think about how to bring a situation up or express my feelings and like not get reciprocated that way
Which is a
or
hard thing because
ignored.
I've done the same thing. Like I
Mhm.
built it up so much where I have to say something.
Yeah,
And then it
same.
gets to a point where when I do, it's the wrong time
Yeah.
because it ends up being an argument. It's not a
Mhm.
talk.
It's an argument.
It's an argument. It ends up being an argument when
Mhm.
all you wanted was to get your how you felt
Felt
about that situation or whatever
yeah.
happened.
Well, and I think too, like I know you and I've talked about it. It's like a lot of like responses that we get, like we're not used, like because we obviously hang out a lot. Everybody sees us around. There's been questions.
Hmm.
We're friends, going through the same thing, having a good time.
Yes.
Yes, and like we talked about it though, is like when like I just automatically start like doing the dishes or something. And you're like, "What are you doing?" But you've done it at my house.
Mm,
Like you're doing the
yeah.
dishes. I'm like, "Why are you doing my dishes?" But that too is like retraining that response is like if I do this, like is he one gonna yell at me, two get frustrated at me, or three ignore me? If I do some impulsiveness, like, am I gonna get like, oh my God, Mariah, I can't believe you do that? Or like, you've seen my impulsiveness. You just laughed at me earlier for my impulsiveness. Like, it's just like, it's so hard to figure that part out. Is like,
But it's not if that person enjoys that trait. Because I could say the same thing. Like I've done in my past, I've
yeah,
always done it all.
yeah,
Yeah, I've had some help here and there, but it wasn't consistent.
mm-hmm,
It wasn't
yeah,
consistent. It was wild hair, I felt like.
oh yeah,
But I've always been go to work, come home, and I worked.
yeah,
And it got to a point where I'm just constantly just exhausted. I'm always
mm-hmm.
working all the time. I come home and I do all this
Oh, I picked up
everything.
so much overtime. Yeah. And I think too is like another thing is I don't know if you feel this way, but whenever my ex actually did something, I was always like on edge of like, what is he going to ask for? You
Yeah, I
know,
guess. Yeah, I
like,
guess you. Yeah,
like,
but I mean, I guess like my kids do that. Do that. So, I mean,
you know,
so,
but I
but
mean,
I
like,
mean,
it
I
was just
never
like,
had.
I felt like I was constantly on edge. Like, I'm usually the one who did the laundry and clean and yeah and worked the overtime,
Yeah.
pay for the freaking groceries, pay for all the needs. Always the one for that. And then like the one time he do something like that, I'm like, oh God, he wants something. What does he want? Like on edge,
Was
waiting.
it something?
Oh yeah,
Well,
which is fine.
yeah, which is fine, but at the same time, when that person did that,
Mm,
like it made you feel good, right?
yeah, but fuck, dude. Sorry, excuse my friends, but fuck, dude. I lived on fight or flight for such a
Ah,
long
yeah.
time.
Well,
Like such a long time. I mean, you know how everything ended in like
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
how and then trying to move back into my house and I remember being in my house like the first night and I have, all my cameras are on and like it's all loud and I'm like halfway asleep and my camera's like goes off and it's like motion on the front yard and I'm like somebody what is going on?
Yeah, dude.
But I mean like constantly living like that, like Jesus Christ, like how
Yeah,
can you go on?
it's
Do you feel
hard.
like you lived in fight or flight?
No, I didn't. I think, I think I was so much in a routine all the time. Maybe she felt that way
Mm.
because of how I acted, maybe, but
Mhm.
there was no try though. There was no
Mhm.
try to figure out what's wrong with me. I never got, "Are you okay?"
Oh,
or
never.
or
Never
what
did I
it
get asked I was
when
okay.
when that question came about, I'm like, "Well, I'm just tired."
Yeah.
You
I
know, like
never.
what else do I need? Like you see how much I'm gone,
Mhm.
come back and try to be a family man, but I can't even do that because I got to get everything that has to be done
Yeah.
around this house.
Yeah. You just see
I
walking through the
and
door, you see
all
tasks.
I wanted was a little bit of just pick up the slack a little bit.
Yeah.
I understand when people have
Mhm.
bad days. If you're having a bad day, I will pick up the slack.
Just tell me.
But if I have a bad day and I still
Mhm.
gotta pick up the slack every single time I'm home, that's
Mhm.
not fair.
Mhm.
Makes me feel like, golly, I just have a roommate,
Yeah. Oh, I had a
you
roommate.
know?
Yeah. Well, I mean like too for me like my ex worked from home and I remember like when I worked and I would go home after work, I would try to get off early. And so I'd get off early and I'd walk, back into the house and be like, I came home early thinking we could hang out because I work 12-hour shifts in a chaotic ER. Like, I see some shit. Like, I want to be with my person and be like, you know what? Like,
Yeah,
thankful for you being here
yeah,
because, like, I just saw some man who was married to somebody for 49 years lose his spouse. Like, I
and
want to
that's
make,
terrible.
yeah. And I'm just like, I want to, be with my person and like appreciate them. And I remember like coming home after that and not even getting like a how was your day or anything. And I walk into, because my ex worked from home, walking in his office and he's playing video games. And I'm like, hey, I got off early. He's playing video games and it's like, I'm gonna die. I'm like,
Oh my
well, I should
god.
have fucking stayed at work then. And then it was constantly like that every single time I was getting off of work. And then I just finally was like, I'm not gonna get off of work early. I'll stay the whole time. I'll pick up overtime. Like, that's what I did.
I think it means a hell of a lot when a person is working as much as we do and we come home and we're
Mm-hmm.
so excited to see that person and then
Yeah.
the vibe is totally not even there when you walk in the door.
Mm-mm.
It's such a turn off. And it's like,
Totally.
well, nice to see you too, just like
Mm-hmm.
you said.
Yeah.
And I still would go up, give my wife a kiss. Good to
Mm-hmm.
see you. I was so
Yeah.
excited to walk in the door,
Mm-hmm.
but it's chaotic.
Yeah.
Like the roof is about to fucking
Blow
blow
off.
off.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why do I need to calm the waters every time I come
Yeah.
home? Why?
Yeah.
And then when you go to work and I'm home by myself and you come home, oh, how come the boys are so good with you, but when I walk in the door, shit hits the fan. I don't know because maybe they're excited. Maybe you should have a little bit of just
Mm-hmm.
calm down.
Yeah.
Uh, it's good to see you. Let me just relax for a second,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the difference is when I'm here, there ain't nothing that needs to be done.
Yeah.
I don't mind coming home and calming everything down, but not thinking about what everything else. If everything's done and where I can relax and sit on the couch and be
Mm-hmm.
fine, I'll be a fucking king.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
Didn't have that.
I know. And how, like, now, how do you feel about that? Like, now you're coming home alone. And because I know, like we said, like
Well,
the whole retraining our brains and
yeah,
like trying to figure things out, like, I told you, like, I'd come home and like be on edge, like,
yeah,
still thinking that I was gonna like come into a conversation that I didn't want to, or, get like a response on because I came home. I just felt like on edge in that when I started going home alone, when I started living by myself alone, I was just spending like 2.5 hours at the gym.
yeah,
So, and then I just like trying to retrain my brain saying like it's not going to happen. Like nobody's going to argue with you. No one's
yeah,
going to keep you
yeah.
up.
But
Like,
I can say on my part, I feel so much better coming home now
oh,
because
yeah.
when I come home, I know my house is the same
Same
as
way
when
you
I
left it.
left it.
Yes.
So when I come
Oh
home,
my
like, what are
God.
we gonna do today, boys? Because I don't have nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. And
Like I
that
love
too.
that.
Oh gosh. I love that too. Like going home and well, when I go home after this, I'm like, you're like, what are you gonna do when you're gone for a week? Sit at my house. Sit at my
Sleep. And
house,
I'm gonna be in my bed.
sleep, hang out with my dogs. Like,
I know it's so nice.
oh my
It's so
God.
nice.
I mean, and not to say that it is nice, but it took a long, I
Well,
know it's a little different for you, but for me, it took a long time to get there. Like, it
yeah,
was, I've told you this, it was like one Saturday morning, had the windows open, like, and it was just recently because it was cooler in Phoenix. The windows were open Saturday morning, had my coffee, the dogs are there, not the TV on, and I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden it was like,
yeah,
my house is
peaceful.
so peaceful. Like, it took me, I've lived in that house for 5 years, and it took over 5 years for it to get peaceful. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
that's
God.
nice. I have recently felt that way, especially probably I don't know, maybe those last few days, because
Mm-hmm.
I came home and I didn't have crap running through my mind like I did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was pretty bad there, especially at the end of this whole when
Yeah.
this whole divorce went through. Like I
Yeah.
was in a bad spot.
Oh yeah. Dude.
I was
I
in a bad
mean,
spot, and
and that's
you can vouch for that
for
because
sure.
I was calling you saying I'm not okay.
And
I'm
I
not
told you,
okay.
But how many times have I told you it's okay not to be okay?
Yeah. And that really freaking laid deep in me.
It's
Like,
okay.
and I don't let this stuff get to me anymore. It's
Yeah.
not worth it. It's That's where finding myself is the beginning
Mhm.
of it right there.
Yeah.
It's not worth driving yourself nuts over something that,
Oh
yeah,
God.
you had a long time period with somebody. That's one
Mhm.
thing that and then you go from being with this person for 9 years to all of a
Not.
sudden you're by yourself.
Yeah, but that's where we have it indifferent is like, yeah, you were with somebody for 9 years and all of a sudden you're not with them, but you still have contact with them because
Yeah,
you have children.
yes.
Me, cold turkey, like, was with somebody for 10 years, literally was assaulted,
Yeah.
hold captive, finally got away in the morning, and then that was the end of communication. Like, never got a sorry, which is fine. I like
And
I've
that's
come,
crazy.
yeah, I've come to like
And there's a
terms with
lot
that.
of
I'm never gonna get a sorry. I'm never gonna get a
and
reason
we want
why,
your
which is
input on
fine.
this because I know there's a lot of girls out there that have dealt with the same
Yeah,
thing.
with domestic violence. Yeah.
Yes. Mine just my marriage we never clicked. We were never on the same page. We were never It would be good for a while and then it would tank. It was such an emotional roller
Mhm.
coaster all the time, and maybe because
Mhm.
at one point in my marriage, like, yeah, she ran off on me. Like
Mhm.
I had dealt with being cheated
Yeah.
on, and I still wanted to be the better person to make this work.
Mhm.
I should have been done then, but I didn't. I wanted to be the bigger person and let it go
Mhm.
and try to make it work, but it just didn't work. I was changed after that.
Yeah.
I totally have trust issues for sure,
Well, yeah. I mean,
but
I have my trust issues too. I
yeah,
mean, like, I was the sole breadwinner. I was lied to. Like, like,
yeah,
there there could be a whole episode or a Netflix series about the shit that I went through. I
yeah,
mean, like, I I mean, I had lawyers involved. There was settlements involved. I mean, so much stuff that was said and just like,
it's a past that sucks to think about,
yeah, it sucks. And
and
I think that's probably the hardest thing is like I don't know if you feel this, like, I don't regret my past. I don't regret the decisions I made.
same way.
I what I regret is not holding him accountable. And I regret not speaking up sooner that I
True,
wasn't happy in what I
true.
wanted because I was so worried about his mental health and how people saw him that I said things like I didn't want to get married and I didn't want to have a kid to protect him.
Yeah,
So, and that's where I think you and I are like a lot of the same is like we're protectors, we're givers.
yeah.
Like we protected our partners.
And I could be a little bit opposite on what you said about speaking up early. Like, yeah, I I should have been the same way.
Yeah.
I didn't ever like to. I never liked speaking of
Mhm.
the way I feel because I knew what it's gonna bring
A fight.
about. Like, it's just there couldn't be a conversation.
Mhm.
Like it, I even when I'm saying I don't want to argue, I just want to talk about this, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, why are you are arguing about this? So, and then it just becomes a little bit of fight and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I got what I said over with, and if you are upset about what I think, then I'm not going anywhere with this.
Mhm.
There's nowhere. So
Yeah.
I was always afraid to even go there, even though I wanted to. I built this up so much that I had to get it off my
Chest.
chest,
Mhm.
and at the same time, I didn't get nowhere with it. I
No.
never got no respect. I got nothing because I got everything
Mhm.
pushed back on me.
Yeah.
Like it's my fault.
Mhm.
Well, okay. I just
Oh yeah.
let it go. I just
Yeah.
let it go, and then until the next time, like
Dude,
I'm built up again. It's like, well, why did you do that?
yeah. And I see, and when I finally like lost, I I kind of like laugh about it now. Like at the time it was a really big thing for me. But I laugh about it now because like I lost my fucking mind over a refrigerator. I lost my
Yeah.
fucking mind over a refrigerator.
Was it a big one?
It's the one in my kitchen now. It's fucking
Oh
nice.
yeah, this is a
Yeah.
nice
And I lost my fucking shit because you know how in episode 1 I was like, I always got told we were going to do things or get things or
one.
whatever. I was always told things. So I'll never forget this. Like, I'm telling you in the moment, like, it was a really big fucking deal for me. But now I like laugh about it because like it sounds so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had told me I want a new refrigerator. And this is how it always went. I want a new refrigerator. We need new this. We need to do that. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Like it makes sense. Let's get a new refrigerator. Do we need one? No. But should we get one? Why not? And then I get blown off. I got blown off and I was like doing the research for the refrigerators and I'm like, I find this
You were doing it
refrigerator.
all.
All of it, all the time. And then he like literally left me at home and told me we were gonna look at refrigerators.
Oh my
I know,
god.
I know, I know. Like, I feel Uncle Peter, if you're out here listening, I know about the washer and dryer now. I completely understand where that's coming from because I lost my mind about the refrigerator. But he left me at home. I'm calling people asking them when I can get the refrigerator in. And then he calls and he asks, well, do you know what the warranty's like? And I fucking lost my mind. I literally, excuse my French again. I'm like, I don't fucking know anything about the fucking warranty because I'm over here doing all the fucking work. Blows my
Why are
mind.
you carrying
And I'm
ways?
like,
I'm
I'm
doing
going to go
it.
look at the refrigerator by myself. I don't need you. And so, yeah. And that's when I finally told him, I was like, you're losing me, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so done. Like, I can't do this anymore. And that's literally when I started seeing like I need to set boundaries for myself.
Hmm.
Did I buy that fucking refrigerator? I bought the fucking refrigerator.
And it's working great.
Oh, it's a good one. Love that baby. It's nice. It's big. It's great. We got all the things in there.
It gets really cold.
It's really cool. But that was the moment when I realized that I need to start putting myself first
Yeah.
and having boundaries for myself. I don't know if you had a
I don't
moment in your
have,
marriage where you
well,
felt like you found your
I think
boundaries, but
that,
that the refrigerator was mine.
well,
That
the
fucking
only,
refrigerator.
the one thing that got me to my point where I was done. I was
Yeah.
like, because I've always, the whole time, wanted to make this work.
Yeah. I mean,
All the
even
time.
like when you called me when it was all going down, you were still trying to make it work.
Yes. I mean, that is
Yeah.
the person that I wanted to be with my whole life. But
Yeah.
it just, yeah. And then at the end, it got to a point where I finally just gave in. I was like, this is it. I don't have an example on, I don't know
You don't have
what
a moment.
point. I just know that this is it. I got
Mhm.
to a point where I come in the door and I don't even want to be around
Yeah.
you. I
Same.
don't, I just don't care. I'm
Mhm.
done. Like,
Mhm.
and that's never happened until the end of this.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you. I I don't care what you're
Yeah.
doing.
I
I'm
know.
just gonna do my same old crap that I do around here
And do
all the
your own
time.
thing. Yeah.
That's what's the ending point for me. I
Mhm.
where I don't that you're getting what you want.
Yeah.
Then go. And
Yeah.
I accept it now. I really
Mhm.
accept it now.
And you're okay with it.
And I'm okay with it.
So, are you figuring out new like, because like I said, we're very different. Like, there's a restraining
I have
order.
boundaries.
There's
Don't
no
give me
contact for me. Like,
no.
I'm figuring out my own personal boundaries
Yeah.
now with
My
people.
boundary is like I don't talk to her. The only
Well,
time
you
I
talk to
talk,
her like
yeah, but
about the kids.
about the kids, and that's all I want it to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's been some other conversations, but
Yeah.
whatever. But what I want out of it is just about the kids, and that's it.
Mutual
I don't
respect for
want,
the kids.
yes, it's because that's what it is about right now.
Mhm.
That's what my life has always been about. I want the best for my family. Why? That's
Mhm.
all I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But that's the only really, and then, well, I mean, I set boundaries for myself. Yeah, like
Mhm.
talk it, like I don't know, whenever I talk to people or start getting into dating again, like I'm not
The world
gonna.
out there dating. Oh boy.
That's a
That can
that's
be an
that,
episode
and
for us.
I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there yet,
It's an interesting world out there in your
and
30s dating.
that's one thing that like it's hard for me to just fucking dive into now
Well, yeah, because
because I
you're in a different
think,
point in your life. Like you have your kids, you
yeah,
have your
my kids are
career,
my
like
main priority, and that's all I care
you
about,
have your house.
other
Like
than other things. But I think,
are there more things that are
mm,
your priority that you're not
well,
saying?
yeah, but I mean, I don't want to get too personal. Yeah, that can come down the road
Oh,
on
okay,
this
okay.
on this
I
whole
was like, wait,
10 years down the drain. Yeah,
10
there's
years
more
down the
things to
drain.
talk about.
There's
Okay.
so much. So, with that being said, because we're talking about rebooting our brains and retraining our brains, we're working on, our boundaries. We're working on figuring
Trying to
things out.
think of ourselves. Like,
What have you done recently for yourself? Like, what was the one thing that after, you knew you were getting a divorce that you were like, I'm going to start prioritizing myself?
I've had a few things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I got off of work and I decided to drive somewhere, so I did. And I spent a couple days. That's one thing that I've never done.
Are you talking about when you came to Phoenix because I was
Yes,
having a bad day?
I went down to your place, and I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
I
We can talk
I
about that.
don't wanna come home and sit here and
Yeah.
drown in my thoughts
No.
when I can go hang out with somebody that I like to be around.
Yeah, we really enjoy hanging out together. It's
Yeah,
nice,
it's
and like that's
fun.
the big thing for us
It's
is that we are literally going through kind of the same thing. Like lawyers are
And I like to
involved,
laugh
like
and I
all the
like to
things.
have fun.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where I go. I don't I mean, I'm sure everybody that knows me on this channel or whatever,
Podcast
no
channel,
podcast,
YouTube
like
page.
if you know me, you know how I am.
Yeah.
When am I ever not happy? Like I like to have a good time.
Yeah. And I think that for me, like I told you, like I spent the last like year, it's from what 2023 to like October 2024, like in fucking hell. In
Mhm.
hell. Between trying to get out of a relationship, trying to figure that out, and then the aftermath of like dealing with my ex, but I couldn't deal with him because there were lawyers involved and restraining orders and all this crap. That it was hell that I told what did I tell you when I was like, I just like if you don't want to have fun, if you don't want to joke around, if you don't
Then
want to laugh, if you don't
I
want
don't
to
want you
like
around me.
if you don't want to be like yeah, with me, support me, like
And we talked about
I'm
like
making stupid
matching.
decisions.
Another thing is
Matching
matching
energy.
energy.
I'll
I
match it
think
all
it's
day, babe.
and I do the same thing. I love it.
Yeah. Like
I'll match anybody's
I
energy.
just want to have fun.
But if you're
Like
just not,
if you want to be a Debbie Downer and you want to
then
talk
I'm
shit,
gonna go somewhere else.
don't bring that here. We're over here trying to uplift people and have a good time.
Yes.
Like,
And that's what we want. We want
yeah,
the feedback from you guys about this whole thing. And
mm-hmm,
this has been a good talk.
yeah, it has.
But
We're still figuring out boundaries for
yeah,
ourselves, and we're still trying to learning how to prioritize ourselves, and we're still learning like how to figure out not
what
like
makes you happy?
getting out of a toxic relationship and responding with
Surround yourself with good
a
people.
thank you. Yeah, and good people. Yeah. Dude, I
Like,
will never can we just have a moment for this?
yeah,
I remember when did we went paddleboarding on the river? Like in
that was
October?
October.
Yeah, so Johnny calls me and he's like, I need to get out of town. I'm like, fuck it, come to my house. Like,
And
I'll get every
this is at my time where I was having bad moments.
and well, I've told you bad moments too. We'll go back to bad moments. But Johnny calls me, he's like, I need to get out of town. I'm like, you know what? Come to my house. Like, just come to my house. Like, we'll watch football. We'll go down the river. We'll do an afternoon river trip. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Like, you and me. Like, we don't need anybody else. Like, I love being out there. It's so, like,
it's
mentally resetting.
it's pretty amazing.
And, like, you're just out there, like, with
I
friends.
almost
Like,
jumped on a horse.
all the paddle boarders are out there. They're so fucking kind. And
It's just a good time.
it's a
It's
good
relaxing.
time. It's relaxing. So we go down the river, and going down the river is like make your own path. Sometimes you get to choose right, sometimes you get to choose left. You kind of get to choose whatever way you want to go.
And she
So
kept asking me what
we're
I wanted
on
to do.
Johnny's path. Johnny was on his path choosing. But yeah, so I think that was one of our times though that I was just like, I think I showed
I
you like it gets better.
yes.
It gets better.
Like that was a time that
It gets better.
I really I really had fun. I was like
Yeah.
I was happy. Finally. It's been a long
Yeah.
time
We
where
went
and
to
I
the
was happy.
river. We
Like
got
that was something that
pizza.
I haven't done by myself. Like
Yeah.
done something for myself.
We listened to old jams on the river.
And I'm all about my old
Yeah,
jams.
so if anybody ever wants to go to the river with me in Phoenix, I have 2 paddle boards. Hit me up. I'll take you. It's a good time. People are still hitting the river, but I will not be out there. It's too cold. But if you ever want to go, if you want to have a river day, let a girl know. I'll take you.
Let's go.
But yeah, though I mean, but you said that was like in your time of like
That
it
was
was
a
in your
bad
deep.
time.
It was a bad time,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, I could sit here and talk to you about all the bad times. I remember when the first it was like a week I didn't know where my ex was. Like MIA, like no contact, didn't know where he was. I was coming home from work freaking out thinking that he was going to attack me. And I lost my shit when I stayed with my parents for too fucking long. Mom and dad, love you. Thank you. Thank you for always having me at your house. Greatly appreciated. But I told you this. I was going to lose my fucking mind if I stayed there any longer. And I went home and I'm crying and my mom's freaking out because I left her house and they did. This is at the time where my parents didn't want me to be alone anywhere because of how brutal the attack was. And I get in my house, I have nothing. Like I just went like in my sandals, nothing. And I just start tearing pictures down, shoving things in trash bags. Like I'm like sitting in my closet crying, losing my mind, like losing it
Yeah.
because I had no closure.
Yeah.
So when you talk
Uh,
about being in that dark
yeah,
place,
and I
oh, I've been
could have
there.
went that dark too, but I still
You had to keep it
had to
together.
keep my composure around because I have my boys
Yeah.
and I do not want them to see
Mhm.
me being upset
Mhm.
because they don't need to see
No.
that.
And
And
that's kind of hard
I've cleaned
too.
up a lot and I've kept my composure most of the time. Yes.
It's hard though.
It is very hard.
And you don't have the luxury like I did. Like just freaking going and like doing what I needed to do to feel
I probably
better.
would have freaking caught my house on fire. I
Fuck,
don't
dude.
know.
Sorry, Dad. You're my insurance man. If you need one, farmers, Frank Cuellar, love you. I wanted to set my house on fucking fire. But
Well,
I
that's how
mean,
you felt, though.
I
I
mean,
think a
even
lot of people feel this way in these
oh
situations.
my god, yeah.
It's hard to
Well,
deal with.
I
It
mean,
really is.
yeah. And how many times though have I like I've told you because like you've called me and you're like I'm not okay, and I'm like, well, tell me what's going on because like I can tell you plenty of times where I haven't been okay. Like the time
Yeah.
I spent 2 hours at the gym. Like I don't know what people do 2 hours at the gym. I figured it out. I don't even know how I ended up being there 2 hours. And usually I would go to the gym, work out, feel better leaving,
Yeah.
and I felt worse, dude. And I'm sitting in my
Yeah.
car like like full blown like
See, and I kind of
crying.
feel that way
Like
every time I work out. Like I there yeah, in the past when I worked out I felt great, but when I work out now, I feel like I don't achieve anything from it. Like people say, yeah, when I go for my runs,
Yeah.
I work my ass off,
Yeah.
but and I just feel drained. I don't feel like, God
Yeah.
damn, I feel like a new person. No, I
Mm-hmm.
just I
Dude.
don't know. It's hard for me to. I haven't found
Mm-hmm.
anything. That's one thing that. Excuse me. The one thing that I haven't figured out for myself is I haven't wanted to do the things that I've always
Always
loved
wanted.
to
Mm-hmm.
do. I always I have a dirt bike. I've ridden dirt bikes my whole life, and I have a side by side. I like to take
Yeah.
it out with my boys and stuff like that. And
We
but
went out on a
I'm
side by
not.
side. It was fun.
Yeah, it was
It was a
really
good
fun.
time. Haven't been out to Tucker Flats in I don't know how many years,
But
but it was
I'm not
great.
making it a priority. Like I don't
You're
have
not
the
putting your.
urge to go because
Mm-hmm.
it makes me feel so good. I
Are you having a hard time making yourself a priority?
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
I I don't honestly, I'm still struggling struggling with what makes me happy.
Mm.
Like what is the thing that makes me happy?
Mm-hmm.
What makes me happy is hanging out with my boys and making
Mm-hmm.
them happy, but am I
Are
honestly
you
happy?
making yourself
I
happy?
don't think I am. I'm having a good time with my boys, but I there's I haven't figured out something for me.
Me. Yeah.
I haven't, which is going to be hard for me with
Mm-hmm.
my situation that I'm in, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things. This is what this whole episode is about is retraining, and I haven't figured
Figured
it
it
out
out.
yet. And I will.
But you know what though? It's okay that you haven't
It,
figured it
it
out,
is
right?
okay.
Like I told you, it's okay not to be okay and it's okay not
Yeah.
to figure it out. But like, God, once again, thank you to our parents. We love you.
Yeah.
However, though, they're the generation who is the buck up generation.
Yeah.
And nobody has
This
ever
is how you should
should
do
do it.
this, and this you
And
should do
never has
this.
anybody told me it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to feel like I want to drive my car into a tree.
Yeah. And I
But
love my dad, but yeah, he gets on me
ugh,
still,
dude, my
and he
parents get on
tar-
me
and he
all the
tells me,
time.
and he tries to tell me, and I was like, I know what I need to do.
Mm,
I understand what you're saying,
yeah,
but this is not what I need from you.
I just
I
need somebody to
need,
listen and tell
yeah,
me that
or
I'm doing
hey,
all right.
don't, yeah, and tell me it's okay. Let's
Yeah,
go do something fun. Let's go. Get my mind off of this stuff. Like
yeah.
I know what I need to do.
Well, that's why I took you to the river.
Yeah, and I fucking felt great
It's
after
so
that.
much
I
fun.
was like so happy about it.
We were river rats.
I,
We
even
were
though it was,
stinky river rats.
it wasn't stinky, but it was a little bit cold. We
It was
jumped
a little
in, but it
cold.
was hot though.
It was hot
It
still
was
in
hot as
October.
hell.
Well, so I think from this episode, next week, Johnny's got a task on trying to figure out what makes him happy. I think that's what we should do.
Yeah, it's a hard thing that I
But
struggle with. I think everybody struggles
struggles
with
with
that
it,
type of
yeah.
thing.
I mean, it took me a long time to figure out like how much I like the river and paddleboarding, but I also
Yeah,
fucking love throwing some weights
but
around.
making that a priority for yourself, like I'm going out to the river.
Yeah.
That's something that you figured out for yourself that you like to do.
Mhm.
I haven't
You need
done
to
that
figure it
yet.
out.
I
Yeah.
haven't done like I'm gonna go ride my dirt bike.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard because I gotta look after my boys.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah, I'll go take them
Yeah.
out on the razor and whatever. But I make it a thing like this is what we're gonna do as soon as I come home? No,
No.
because it doesn't ever come to my mind.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I love doing it, but it's not making me happy for some
Yeah.
reason. That's
We're
a
working on our
conversation.
happiness.
Yes.
And you know what? I think everybody works on their own happiness. It's like one of those things that grow. Like you grow with your happiness. You figure
Yes.
out what you like. But that's okay. So we're here to tell you, brain meet reboot.
Yeah.
It's really fucking
It
confusing.
is
As you
confusing.
can tell, we're still trying to figure it out.
And we appreciate you guys listening to our
Yeah,
podcast.
we do.
This is brand new for us. I'm
It
hoping you
is.
guys are enjoying it. We need the feedback. We need people.
Questions, comments,
Yes,
topics, whatever you want.
that's what's gonna help this whole thing
You
because we
know
can talk
what?
about it all.
We can. And I'm going to say, if you're going to talk crap, we will block you. We've already blocked you if you have. But you know what? If you're going to talk crap, use your own name. Let us know. We're not going to come after you. That's too much fucking work.
And I hope my voice is louder.
Hey, you know what? You better make sure it is, dude.
It's
We take
louder.
those compliments or those comments in serious. We
Yes.
like the feedback. We need it. But you guys, as you can tell, like we're here for you. We've been through a lot of shit. We want to be there for people.
And your comments too, if you want to talk about stuff, that's what
Yeah.
makes more episodes.
And we appreciate the
So,
support. Hell yeah.
yeah, we enjoy it. We
We
enjoy
enjoy
every
it.
minute of it. This is what's going to help this whole thing grow.
Yeah.
Let's grow as people. Let's grow this podcast.
We'll grow as a community.
Yes.
We're here for you guys. We know there Johnny and I were talking about this before we recorded. There is a community out there of people, mainly who he works with,
Mhm.
who's going through the same shit, dude. Like, it fucking.
Railroaders are by one of the biggest people that go through divorces
Well, you know
and
what?
bad.
That's true, but also ER nurses. We're
Yeah.
not easy people to love. We
Yeah.
are not easy people to love, which
It's a
is
hard lifestyle.
it's
We
a
both
hard
have a lifestyle
lifestyle.
that we deal with.
We both have a hard lifestyle, you
It
know.
they it depends. It's a big.
Mhm.
What am I trying to say? The job takes a. It's a big responsibility. It's a big.
Yeah,
They it wants a lot from us. We
it
have
does.
to go to
I give a
work. We
lot.
have yeah. It's
I
a
give a lot.
and
I
that's just what the job entails.
mhm.
But and it takes a strong. If a person's in a relationship with this,
Takes a strong, better half.
yeah,
It takes a listen. I already know I'm a fucking asshole. I've told you that.
yeah,
I'm a fucking asshole. I can be a bitch. I'm very straightforward. I also kind of just like you heard it. There's nothing stops from here to here. Like
yeah.
nothing. Like I know it comes out bad and I'm sorry, okay? But like it's who I've told you this recently. God bless the motherfucker who has to put up with me. God bless that person. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I'll treat
hard.
you right, but I will pray for you every day.
Well, I can say the same thing
Yeah,
with me because I'm gone a lot and I don't have a set schedule. I go to work at a different time every
yeah,
time I get called.
that's true.
I can say I'm going to work at this time, but that doesn't ever work out that way.
Goddamn railroad.
And plans are out the window. It's always a spur of the moment type of thing. Every time I
Yeah,
come home, yeah, let's go.
yeah.
It's
I
right
mean,
now or never because I'll probably go to
God
work.
bless the motherfucker who
Yes.
puts up with you.
Yeah,
Shit.
it's a hard
It's a hard
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
I don't have set days off. I
Yeah.
don't I have a lot of freedom as far as I can lay off when I want. I have vacation days. I put enough time in where I'm okay.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
still,
hard.
it's hard.
It takes a person to be with a
A
person
very
with this job, a
strong,
strong person.
strong
And you know what?
person.
That's why I say love is a choice. If you love that person, it doesn't matter what you're going
Mhm.
through. It does not matter.
It doesn't.
You're going to
So,
go through any type of situation.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I'm still going through situations.
Yeah. But
Federal situations.
as that being said, we
We
think this
appreciate
was
you.
a good it was a good talk. Let us
Yeah.
know what you guys think.
We're
But this
working on
is
it
we're gonna close this.
with We're Here For You.
We're here for you. Let
There's
us
a
know.
We obviously talked a little bit about our darkness. There's a suicide prevention number that you can call.
Yes.
You can come to us. We will help you.
Yeah. And we want the
Yeah.
comments.
Next week is going to be a little bit darker.
Well,
It's going to be dark.
but on the record, this every episode, yeah, we have a little bit of an outline, but it's raw.
It's so raw. We just have
I
ideas.
don't.
Just
I just like to talk, and everybody that knows me, I'll talk.
You
And
talk a
anything
lot.
that comes to my mind, I'll talk about.
It's
But
like
I'm
SpongeBob.
not on. Yeah, I'm
5
ready.
hours later.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, with that being said, we appreciate you guys. Thank you
a lot.
a lot. We can't believe how many views and comments and
Keep them coming.
oh my god, dude. We didn't
This is,
we're just two people from a small town.
and this is something we've never done before.
Yeah, but we're enjoying it. Are you enjoying it? I'm
Yes,
enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. As our famous saying goes, you're the fucking guac.
You're the fucking guac. Don't fucking
Don't forget it.
forget it.
Don't forget you're the fucking guac.
Hey, here's
Yeah.
to another episode. Next one. Let's
Next
do it.
next one's dark, so bear with us, you guys. Are you just gonna leave me hanging?
Got it.
All right. We'll see you next time.
10
Have a
years down
great
the fucking drain.
10
Let's go.
years. 10 years down the drain and 10 years paving the way. Is that what it is? Is that what we said
Fuck
last
yeah.
time? Okay.
Here's to the future.
To the future. You guys have a great one.